Episode 8. All right.
Dude, I went on a run last night.
You did?
I kind of like slowed down running recently, like for the past 2 months.
Yeah. That's good, though.
And then I'm getting back to it right now. And then, dude, that guy, like at that run I go to, that's the run club from my church, from the church I go to. And then at the end of it, we were like hitting, like, doing sub-7 for long distance.
That's pretty fast.
So total we did 5 miles.
Okay, yeah.
And then the last maybe 2 miles were like sub-7.
Wow.
And I was like, ooh, it was so gassed up. But it was good for me to be pushed,
Sure.
And I love it. And then the entire run at the end was like, just like keep going, just don't stop, just don't even slow down.
Is there anyone in that group that seems like very elite with the running, and you got to keep up with them, or?
Yeah, well, the leader of the group who manages his group, with his girlfriend, he's an amazing runner. Like,
that's awesome.
He runs like long distances. He does marathons. He did Boston.
Wow, you got to qualify for that.
Yeah. So yeah,
he's legit.
Yeah, he's very much legit. There are like any kind of pace, for anyone who wants to like join. It's very open. They do actually like 5 miles and 3 miles.
Okay, cool.
And for everybody who can't even run, they do walks too.
Sure.
It's pretty cool.
That's really great. They got something for everyone.
Yeah.
Man, that's very admirable, though, that you do the first couple of miles at maybe above 7 minute, 8 minute, what have you, and then the last couple you're like just beasting it
and
under 7. That's
strong.
hard.
Yeah, it is very hard. Very hard.
That's when you're at your worst endurance wise, and it's like, okay, this is when I'm pushing the hardest.
Yeah.
But what's the result of that mentally? How do you feel?
I mean, I know it. It's very interesting because you forget about it. You kind of want to. You forget about the amazing outcome you get from it.
Right.
You forget about that all the time, and by doing it, you're reminding yourself of, like, when you do it, you just get back to it and then be like, oh my God, I kind of missed this.
Right, exactly. And you know that you did that, you created that.
Yeah.
So that's a great feeling right there.
No, it feels amazing afterwards.
Yeah, you weren't shooting for sub-7. You just were like, hey, let's run fast.
Yeah.
Let's kind of just push hard right now.
And I like to do that. And then when I see someone likes to do that as well, it's like, let's go.
Let's go, exactly.
It's awesome.
Man. So that's amazing, man. Well, that's cool. And that was yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday, last night.
How you feeling? Do you still ever get sore after running? Or?
Now, no, because I've been running for the past 5 days now.
Oh, good. Very
Almost
good.
every day, like few runs, slow. I did one on the beach Sunday, like 2 days ago.
Nice.
7 miles, just easy, but
That's good.
Yeah, getting back into the consistency.
Yes.
Of doing it, I think that's the most important thing.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'll say that. I had like one day that I took a day off completely, but before that, I think I got pretty close to 30 days of running every day.
Wow, yeah.
And it wasn't big runs. Most of them were like 2 miles.
Yeah.
Some of them were like 5 or 6.
Right on.
But I kept that consistency going.
It doesn't matter, right?
Right.
I feel like it's just about going there. You go out and just run and just do it.
And building that base and keeping it.
Yeah.
I think that's what's extremely important for running, and that does help with endurance and like soreness. You don't get sore that way.
What do you do to not get too sore afterwards?
Afterwards, so I make sure that I drink water and electrolytes. I think electrolytes are pretty good.
Yeah.
I do want to get into a little bit of stretching after, if I can routinely stretch, because I'll tell you with me, and maybe you can help on this, but lately I've been getting a little bit of what I think is like a sciatica kind of a pain on my left side. So, and it's not so much from running or working out. I feel it flare up when I'm like sitting down a lot.
Yep.
Sitting with a kind of a hunched over posture.
Yep.
If I sit straight, it kind of alleviates it actually.
Yes.
The pressure's going off of it.
Yeah.
But if I'm like this, like I'm teaching all day, then it starts to happen.
Yeah, man, that's you gotta move, do the right things.
Yeah.
And if you sit for a long period of time, just get up as much as you can.
Yeah, Absolutely.
You know, if you have breaks, I would say like get up every 20 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be
It's so
good.
important. I think nobody should like stay sitting longer than 30, 45 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Max.
Yeah.
You gotta get up, stand up, do some stretches,
Yeah.
move it a bit, walk, just walk,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
It's bad to sit still for such a long time.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's so sad that it's like not only the norm but enforced. Definitely in school. And you can see with the schools and other places like some European countries where they have longer recesses and more frequent moving around periods. The kids just are better with everything.
Yeah.
Healthier, smarter, everything.
Yeah.
Sitting is the new smoking, or it could be one of the new smoking. So.
What he said, the chair kills more people than the cigarette.
Yeah, that's wild to think about, man. Yeah, but it's
because
exactly
over the years, you just develop so many issues with the body.
Yeah,
not allowing your body to have the good flow of your, like blood flow, or even just your energy flowing through the body properly.
So many things are shut off when you're sitting down for a long time. So,
that's why people get, this big belly, huge stomach.
Exactly true, man.
Hanging.
Yeah, it's all just like no muscles are flexed.
Yes, everything stays here.
Yeah. So, it's really bad. And there's resting positions that are like not resting positions for, like, let's say the normal American person. Like they call it the Asian squat, where you just squat on the ground. You're still on your feet, but like your butt is near the ground, and you're just
and you stay like that.
Yeah,
you sit
and that is a resting position. That's supposed to be relaxing, right there. But a lot of people can't even get into that position.
Dude,
a lot of people can't even stay in that position without pain.
Yeah,
it's like their ankles are on fire.
Can you do it now? Can you like stay like that?
I've always been good. I'm very lucky on that, where I've been pretty flexible for that. But I could sit in that position for like a good 4 or 5 minutes, not a problem. I would like to increase that number. I'd like to make that a more consistent thing. And honestly, I have been kind of like locating, okay, what are my procrastinating triggers? I mentioned it a tiny bit last week.
Yes,
last podcast. And I come to realize that the biggest one for me is my office chair. It's a very comfortable chair. And you sit down on it, it reclines back a bit, and it's great. I don't know if I could ever get rid of it, because also, if I'm doing meetings, I want to sit in the chair, But it is definitely a trigger for procrastinating. And I noticed that when I sit in that chair, if I'm at the computer, I'll be like, scrolling around nonsense, and same thing for phone. I'll just be like stuck in this scrolling around, wasting time kind of thing. So for the most part, I keep a bunch of stuff on that chair. I stack books on top of it. I make it very not presentable. I can't sit in it so easily unless I move all the stuff off of it. So
good, man. It's working on your environment
big time. And instead, what I'll do is I'll do that squat, and if I'm squatting for a long time, I'll rest up against the wall. I'll have my back up against the wall. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it's good.
But those kinds of things, definitely, I notice a big difference, because even though it's a resting position, it's not as comfortable as the office chair reclined back, scrolling on my phone. So it's definitely better. So that's something I've been.
I have a couch. But I do not have a chair.
Oh, very interesting.
I only have a stool to work in front of my computer.
That's good.
It's just a stool where it's like very not comfortable.
Right, there's no back on it.
There's no back.
So you just sit there for a little bit.
So if you say, if you like bench over, you feel it.
It's like, not comfy.
Not comfy, so you just stay straight all the time.
And it's probably a hard surface on the seat area. It's not like a cushion.
It's a little cushion because it's an old drum stool.
Oh, there you go.
But it's pretty beat up.
Yeah, it's not much.
it's not cushion anymore.
Right.
But it's a little rough. So you can't stay still for too long.
Right, you can't be there for that long. It's like, okay, I got to get up now. So we need that. We need not to say we need less comfort in our lives, but we need to not sit sedentary, you know, in one spot for too long. It's very easy to waste time and to make our bodies unhealthy in that way.
Yeah.
So
I'm seeing a client tomorrow. It's the same thing. We work on the lower back.
yeah, that's
And
good.
it's like staying seated and you know sleep. I think that person that's a main issue for that person. But yeah, it's so many people have lower back issues.
Yes,
It's crazy, and then I think mostly it's because they don't use their muscles in the back much, or not in the right way.
That's right. There's a lot of things that don't challenge that.
And their spine is so compressed.
Yeah.
And so they basically need to do like a bit of a, you know, spine decompression.
Yes.
And work on your, you know, muscles around your hips, you know, hamstrings and glutes and lower back and core as well.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of things in our environment that specifically challenge that.
Yeah. Everything we do is like forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And then it's hard to like focus, bring your awareness in the back of your body, pretty much.
Right. So I know. Let me ask you. This is one way I know that can decompress the spine. Hanging from a bar. I do that pretty often. Not even like doing a whole bunch of pull-ups. Just sitting there, and you'll even feel the first couple times you do it. You feel a little pop, snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah. That thing is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I know you got some like parallel bars, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is great for decompression as well.
Yeah.
Because you just like, you know, press yourself up.
Yeah, you hold it up like that.
Keep your shoulders down.
Yeah.
If you do like an L seat.
Yeah.
And then you keep your feet on the ground still, so you let them touch the ground, and then you just press up like this.
Yep.
And that's a very, very, very good position for decompressing your spine.
Yeah.
Everything is targeting pretty much your lower back.
Right. It's like right at it.
You stay like that for like 30 seconds. You do it 3 times. You see it feels amazing.
Big difference. Yep. Yeah. It's exactly. That's my newest addition. I was going to mention is my parallel bars. I got them yesterday in the mail, and I love them.
Yeah.
It's a new leg of my journey.
Yeah.
It's hard. A lot of the things that you see all these calisthenic superstars do. Yeah. It's so hard.
It takes a very long time to get to do whatever you want to do. Actually.
Yeah.
Every step of the progression is a lot of workout.
It's a lot of work. It takes a long time to get there too. But yeah, I was doing the L sits and even the tuck knee, kind of the easier edition of that. But yeah, I can only do probably for like 10-15 seconds at a time right now the L sit. And it's one of those things where it's like you think you're strong before you do that, and then you try some of this stuff and you're like, oh my god. I have a long way to go.
The deep strength, that's how you see if you're strong actually inside and out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, even the people with the showstopper muscles, the big muscle, it's like, okay, how long can you hold this position for?
Yeah, because it's working with your nervous system as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to strengthen your nervous system to get like really strong, you got to work with your muscles and everything around your muscles, you know, your ligaments and everything, but also your nervous system.
Right. It's all these muscles you forget about or you don't know exist.
Yeah.
And it's also your nervous system. It's your entire body.
Yeah.
It's every part of you is required to like do the planche.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So
it's a long progression too. The form and everything is so important. The way you just like push your scapula out.
That's right.
And all this kind of movement exercises, you gotta really get comfortable doing all this kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, moving the shoulders around like that. It's like there's hardly anything that really challenges that until you do all these calisthenics.
It's true. So true.
Yeah. You know, you can sit at a bench press and you could, you know, pump out some heavy weight and stuff, but it's not gonna require you to do anything with your scapula.
Yeah.
You know, you're laying on a bench.
Even though I've learned that you get a thing for like pushing from the scapula.
Right.
So if you push away, not trying to push with your chest.
Right. Push from
the back. Yeah. It's from the back of your shoulders.
Yeah. Whenever I do the bench press, I do it from there. I lift my lower torso up off the bench, and I'm really planting my feet down super hard, and it's like like that, really not like extremely arched back.
But you got to arch. You got arch a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
it's putting
good.
pressure. It's so good for your. I mean, it's protecting your shoulders from any kind of like overwork that leads to injury. Actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, a lot of people have shoulder problems, man. It's like frozen shoulder is such a thing, and just all these mobility issues, and clicks and pops and stuff. And it's like,
do you have any now?
No, not at all. That's never. Luckily, that hasn't been an issue before. I feel like before I did any working out when I was really young and my shoulders were a little bit loose. I used to do this thing that I never do anymore, but it was kind of a contortionist move where I put my hands like this and I could flip them around over my head. But I don't do that anymore because, for one, shoulder injuries I'm very squeamish over. It's like one of my worst fears, absolutely.
Yeah.
And two, you do have to kind of like slip it out and back in to do that, which freaks me out like no other.
Yeah.
So, but that used to be a party trick that I could do for people is you go like this and you flip it over.
Wow.
Not anymore. You won't see me do that anymore, man. I'm not into it. But that's when I was like, really skinny fat kind of, I had like no muscles, I had no like shoulder protection and stuff, so I was just like like noodles. My arms were like noodles. So so now I've improved from that, but I can't do that move anymore. But yeah, the parallettes are great. There's so many new goals I have now, and I just have to develop what daily or weekly routine it's going to take to get there. But I do want to do all that stuff, holding the handstand and the L-sit to handstand.
That's the goal.
Yeah, right. That's in itself is a huge goal right there.
Dude, if you can do that, that's very impressive.
Yeah, it's like a very small percentage of
I remember when I started to like kind of work out, I was doing some handstands, right, just in the grass, just like that.
Yeah.
I just like stayed like for like 3 seconds up and then
right
fall back. But I was trying to once do like some push-ups straight into it in handstand.
Oh yeah.
And it's so hard. It was like there's no way you can do it.
Right.
But I was doing it, using momentum, my feet of the like toss myself in the air. But like doing as a motion where like you from like L-sit.
Yeah.
And then boom, go all the way there to planche almost, and then push yourself up.
Right. Dude, it's so hard.
It'd be good too, I think, if you can do it maybe in 3 years from now.
Yeah. That's a goal.
Killer.
Right.
That'd be amazing.
And I'm patient enough, man. I'll keep that consistency. That'd be really, really cool.
You still be in your 30s.
Yeah, that is true, man.
Which is amazing.
I'm knocking on the door of 35 in a couple of months.
Yep.
But yeah, if I could do, the planche or, whatever it's called where your feet are behind you, you're kind of in that, horizontal position. And that is so hard. I thought that, okay, if I lean forward enough, maybe I could get my feet off the ground. My feet feel like lead right now.
No. You need to go through the progression. You cannot do it without, doing the work before.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much work. A lot of back muscle work, I feel, is necessary for that. And then the lever, the front lever. Oh my gosh, dude. It looks cool.
Something I would love to do one day, but I never worked for it. But it's the flag.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the human flag. Oh my god,
that's pretty impressive.
It's so cool. It's like, look at me. Your feet are over here.
And when you see people do it, it doesn't look that hard.
No,
it's like, of course, and you feel like, oh, maybe I can, use my arms to press and, and this one to pull.
Like, oh, that's not working.
Dude, no, you need everything. Your core is going to be so strong too.
Yeah, that's so wild, man. It takes an unbelievable, unique, form of strength too. It's like gymnast strength.
Yeah.
So very impressive. But what's, really great about all of those practices and any huge accomplishment is just how you feel after. It's like how you did with the sub 7 minute run miles after 5 mile running. It's like that's the kind of dopamine that we want. There's I feel like, okay, we have AI and we have a lot of robot stuff doing our stuff for us these days, but that all comes from us, and we're more or less kind of the same on a very basic level where we operate on zeros and ones. Zeros being pain, and discomfort, and ones being feel good. And so, whole other topic of why we should avoid the things that are just a huge flood of ones with no zeros. But man, this kind of stuff right here, where you're able to do the human flag and the planche and the lever, is it's zero, a lot of zeros, and then finally like the best of the ones.
Yeah.
Some of the best ones ever.
By doing it and by the way you feel afterwards. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, achieving it. And just being like, look, this is a thing I can do now. It's in my vocabulary as a fitness person.
This is how I felt when I did my first muscle up.
Right.
And as I was doing so many pull-ups by then.
Right.
And then I studied one guy who was explaining how to do muscle up properly.
Yeah.
And the following day I went to the park and then I just tried it and I went up right away.
You did it. Oh my gosh. Walk me through that. So I haven't done my first muscle up yet. How do you progress to that point?
The number one step is to be able to do a strict pull-up. I mean, maybe at least 10 reps.
Okay, 10 strict pull-ups.
Yes.
So does that mean definitely up to like here?
Yeah, to the chest. You bring the bar to the chest.
Right.
Just like this. The rest of your body is kind of hanging. You have your knees together.
Right.
And it's very much using your back.
Right.
And so much work of the scapula as well.
Right.
It's something I do now every time I do pull-ups. Before I do some warm-up just by doing this.
Right.
I do 20 reps total of this.
Right.
And it really teaches you to use your muscles in the back.
Yes.
That is so important when you do actually pull up afterwards. So when you have the strength here, what I did is I used momentum for with my legs. So I would just swing a little bit.
Right.
I grab the bar, swing, aim a point with my legs further away from me, and then I
swing with your shoulders.
I swing my shoulders a little bit like this.
So you're not swinging your feet.
You keep your body straight.
Yeah.
But you do have a body swing.
Right. Okay.
Right?
I see.
And then when you aiming a point with your feet, you bring your knees towards your chest.
Yeah.
That gives you a lot of momentum.
Right.
So that's how you can do your first muscle up.
Okay.
And then you can actually practice that too, just by doing this motion, boom, and doing this with your legs.
Your knees. Yeah. Bring your knees. So swing with your shoulders and get your body kind of swinging.
Yeah.
And then
the swing is just to put you in position to have your legs in front of you.
Right.
That's it. You don't want to do swings, right?
Right.
Just one swing.
And just to get your knees up.
Boom, yeah.
And
bring and get that strength in your back to do this with your the bar, to bring it in front of your face, just like that.
Right.
And at some point you have enough momentum, you go high enough to finish it up. So you want to have your hands on top of the bar like this, of your grip.
Yeah. They call it the false grip.
So that way your hands are already in a position
to push yourself up.
Of doing this.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's basically how you do it.
Wow. Well, one day. Yep. I think I would probably have to go to the park for that. I do have the pull-up bar at home, but my head will hit the ceiling.
Don't stay stuck in the ceiling, but
my head's on the ceiling.
Yeah.
So, but that's definitely a great goal right there, and that's.
Anybody can do it too. It's very much doable. It's just, everything else, you got to do the progression.
Right.
Do the work, and then one day after the other, you just get there. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you think it's easier if you're a light enough body weight, or do you want to have a lot of muscle? What do you think that ratio looks like?
Maybe not light, but
you want to have muscle enough to
where
your body.
It's mostly your bone structure.
Yeah. You
have a wide frame.
Okay.
So you have enough muscles in your back.
Right.
So I'm saying that kind of type of body, where a body type where it's feel like a triangle a little bit,
Yeah, so the V shape.
I've noticed that people who have this kind of V shape, genetically, have more strength in the back, of course.
Yeah.
To do it, versus then people who are more of a straight shape.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little harder.
It's a little harder, yeah.
Because they don't have the
Yeah.
muscle mass in their back.
But you can develop it, and then
Yeah, exactly.
It's like for me, I think for you as well.
Mhm.
For me, my legs are like it's weak.
Yeah, mine are
I never
definitely-
worked my hamstrings. I never had all these very weak legs for such a long time. I could run,
Right,
but I didn't
not,
have any
lift
like
and-
real strength.
Yeah.
Around my glutes were like nothing. Like
Right, definitely.
it's like one
here.
muscle fiber. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But
up here is strong.
But the hip, was strong, so I had to work on my hips and my glutes and everything else.
Yeah.
So everybody has these like strengths and weaknesses.
Right. And so I love calisthenics and everything, and what I'm trying to figure out, because I feel like it does exist, is the best way to keep your legs strong and train legs and everything. And of course you can do body weight squats, you can do it with a weighted vest, you can do goblet squats, which kind of breaks out of the calisthenics world a little bit. But I feel like that takes a little bit of extra consciousness, extra work if you're a calisthenics person, you gotta keep the legs in check as well. You gotta keep that strength training going.
Yeah. That's true, because a lot of people do like mostly upper body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's the impressive
that's the reason why I love to combine both of them.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should be lifting weights.
Yeah.
Heavy, not necessarily super heavy, but heavy enough where you feel the resistance, where you get to like 15 reps and it gets hard.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be an easy lot of reps.
Yeah.
Like don't do 10 pounds 100 times.
No, yeah.
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 I had heard that Goggins would do David Goggins would do a little bit of things like that, only to tighten up the skin around his arm. So when he went through the huge weight loss, to not have the flabby skin, he would do light weights with tons of reps.
Like 100 reps, right?
Yeah, exactly, like a ridiculous amount. But yeah, it's not so efficient if you want to build muscle.
Yeah.
And, get that going. But yes, I think overall though, any exercise and getting out there should be done. I think, gosh, we live in such a world of information and not enough application. There's a lot of dangers everywhere we look.
It's always
distractions.
The same thing, and we got to be focused on the now.
You got to want it bad enough. And that too. You
got to put yourself in a position where sometimes you need to like push yourself, like you have no how to say it, like there's no excuses to find anymore.
Yes, exactly.
If I try to find the right words for that, if you don't do that, you're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, put yourself in that situation.
If you don't do that, you're gonna be homeless.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're gonna lose your family.
Right. Yeah, and so it sounds extreme, but you have to put yourself in that situation.
I think I'm not gonna talk for like girls, women in general, because they operate in different ways.
It's different, yeah.
But mostly for guys, we need to experience this very often in our lives.
Right.
Where we just need to put ourselves in the worst situation ever.
Yeah.
That for me, it was moving here with like nothing, and it's still like trying to. It's just very interesting because people think, I know you're very good at this too, like living below your means.
Oh yeah, that's my middle name right there. I love that.
You're very good at this. I'm not very good at this, but I use it as a strength.
It's good, yeah.
Because what I do is like, okay, well, you want that?
Yeah.
Well, get it.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do to get it.
Right. How are you gonna get there if you want it?
Put yourself into a situation where, oh wow, okay, I need to make this amount of money a month.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm trying to coach people and help them out with fitness and everything. You need to be in shape.
Yeah, you gotta come proper for that.
If you want to be a good musician, play with bigger artist or whatever, where you practice instruments and be good.
Right.
Put yourself out there, network and everything like that. So we need to really create our environment that pushes us all the time.
Right. It's like you're doing it for survival at that point, because if you don't, the consequences are huge.
And you need a vision for that for yourself, though.
Right. Absolutely.
You have your vision for yourself, and then you can put yourself in danger.
Yeah.
And then once you're there, thrive.
Yeah, exactly.
And be happy. That's your best place you can be anyway.
Right. It's so liberating to get to that point, to become that person that can get the big gigs, and to personal train people and change lives and be really fit and stuff. God, there's so many good things.
Dude, I met a girl the other day and we were running together, and then she was like, we were talking and everything, and she was like, oh, what do you do and everything? So I'm a musician, I play drums, came here in the US, play drums.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, this is your job? Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Right.
And it was like, that's, and then we ended up talking about, fitness and stuff like that. I was like, I also have people, my friends, to coach them and, get them fitter and get a better mindset, you know. And at some point I was like, that's my half of my income now. It's like, oh wow, you're definitely living your dream.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that, but I was like, she's right in a way. But that I got here because of that positioning myself.
Yeah, because you made that environment for yourself. That's amazing, and that's what's really cool. You attracted a kindred spirit, not like romantic attract, but
no, you can feel it.
Yeah.
You vibrate such a high energy and everything, and then people can sense it.
Exactly. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people are definitely super duper not willing to make that environment for themselves because it's scary. It's scary to, what if I fail? Whatever fail means.
What people think of me when I fail.
And it's also, exactly. And it's also, what will people think of me? There's a lot of fears that people have, which it's, our brain overprotecting ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, man, get over it, ducky. Life is meant to be lived.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I love the idea, and I think a lot of success comes from subtracting things, subtracting distractions and unnecessary, excessive comfort. Yeah. Let's say, and an environment that doesn't allow you to grow.
Yeah.
And it's such a funny little paradox. I think wanting to be financially successful is obviously a very good thing, but having a lot of money and a lot of status can, if you treat it like how society expects it, can turn it into a prison.
Yeah.
If you have this mansion, okay, people are going to want to steal from it all the time. Yeah. If you have millions of dollars, a lot of millionaires are in fear for losing all that money.
Yeah.
That's what that reality is.
So true.
So sure, you can want to get $1 million or a lot of money, and that's all fine, but there's a price for everything, and if you do things the way that we normally expect society to do, as far as what a millionaire looks like, God, there's a big price tag. There's a lot of I don't know, it's I'd love to have money, but just invest it, make the money work for me, and live way below my means, just live as normal as I can.
That's exactly what
I think that's unbelievable. That is silent power to me.
It is silent power.
Yeah.
It is silent power, and the one word I would say that makes a big gap between you being in creating a new jail for yourself.
Yeah.
Versus then actually freedom.
Right.
It's one word is system.
System.
Not a single person can use or create the same system for themselves.
Right.
So you got to find yourself, do the work, understand what you need, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and create a system around this.
Yeah.
That's going to help you to gain freedom.
Right.
And that's all you need to do, and focus on that. And then after you take care of that system for forever.
Yeah.
And you can actually give it to kids after to just demonstrate what you can do. But after they're gonna have to create their own system as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with that system, a lot of it comes from, like you said, what you're good at. And to me, that's your gifts. And even if your gift is something like cutting people's hair or cutting grass or whatever, if you do the best job of it for such a long time, you can make millions.
Sure.
You can, if you cook food better than anyone else,
anything,
open restaurants and businesses. If you do cut grass better than anyone else, you can do landscaping and all that, and hair, same deal. Anything like.
And once again, you need to understand how the economics works and everything, and then the history as well.
Right.
To see, use other people's mistakes.
Sure.
To apply to yourself.
Yeah.
And but yeah, anything is possible for you to create as freedom.
Right.
And that's only thing that I think guys should focus on in their life.
Absolutely.
The only thing. It shouldn't be like sports in a way.
Like watching sports.
Yeah, watching sports. It shouldn't be like being a fan of a band or whatever.
Nah, yeah.
Like having idols or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be definitely not games. It shouldn't be the opposite sex. It shouldn't be
women.
Yeah,
trying to get a bunch of girls or whatever.
Yeah. That's that thing is like okay, you can do that a little bit. Just if you want to experience life in your early 20s, and then after
exactly, you got to grow up.
Wake the F up and then become, because you're gonna be beaten by so many people,
right?
And in some ways people don't want to hear that, but life is kind of a not life, but if you want to create a system that's very valuable and you can export that value to other people,
right,
there's a lot of competition out there.
Oh sure, absolutely.
Right? And a lot of people, when they see that you do good, want to take you down.
Oh, absolutely.
So you got to be ready for that. It takes years to have a strong mindset to protect yourself from this kind of stuff.
Sure. There's people that will, look at all of your, this is one very petty little example, but there's people that are going to be watching all of your social media activity, all of the stuff you post, all the stuff you do, never liking any of it, but just watching all of it, just to wait for you to fail.
Yeah, I never understood that. It's so crazy, right?
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's a dark place on their end.
Yeah, for me, first of all, I rarely watch others' content.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for instance, if I go on Instagram, I never watch stories. It's very rare when I watch stories.
Right.
If I watch a story, maybe once out of 3 times, I would like it. I would just share it.
Right.
I would express myself I like that stuff. It's cool.
Exactly. That's it.
But I wouldn't be watching others' life.
No.
Without expressing myself. It's a very weird thing to do for me.
Yeah.
It's like if I have friends from 10 years ago, and I still watch what they are doing, and not sharing, not having any communication with them.
That's weird.
But I'm still in their lives by watching them. It's a very weird thing to do for me.
That doesn't make
something
I
can't process. I don't know why, but
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's a very fascinating thing that I experienced one time, and this was not social media; it was in person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, let's just use rappers for example, on all the MTV videos where they got bling and they got girls dancing and they got mansions and all that. It's all a story. It's clearly not reality. They're just very intellectual businessmen. And where this was especially present for me, there's a gig I did one time years ago. I think this was 6 or 7 years ago. It was a stand-up comedy thing, actually. And the host of the show was, he wasn't a real reverend, but he was Reverend something or whatever, but his whole thing was marijuana. And he had this big fake blunt that he would light up, and he'd had a lot of weed jokes and all this stuff. And that was the humor and everything. But before and after speaking with him, clearly that's all a costume and the blunt is fake, and he's just a very smart dude that does not act like that. He is, not a huge marijuana smoker,
right.
you know,
An
like
actor.
gangster or what have you, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all stories. It's all, but people get swept up into that lifestyle, thinking that, oh, you know, if these guys, you know, do all this stuff, smoke a lot of weed and flaunt all their money and have bling and all this stuff and look real cool,
Yeah.
you know, then I can do it too because I want to be like that.
Yeah.
That above many other things, it's not sustainable. It's silly, you know, and it's not real.
It's not real.
You know, so but it's funny. You know, this was a comedy show. I was the musician. I was like one of the bandmates.
Oh, you were playing there, okay.
Yeah, I was playing it. So I got to see like before and after and everything.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so of course, you know, for the show, it's all done up and stuff, and everyone. All the stand-up comics were all like that too, and it was hilarious. I mean, the whole thing was very enjoyable and very entertaining. But you gotta make sure you know what reality is and what it's not. What's just a story. And you know, there could be people. I'm sure, you know, maybe people like Snoop Dogg do smoke a bit of weed, but he is an actor.
Yeah.
He is a genius businessman, you know, like smart on all that, you know. Maybe it's not as much as we all think with the weed and everything.
I agree a lot. And I question myself about that too, because he's a very successful guy.
Yeah.
Well, he got successful, you know, in these days where with his other group of people were
with Dr. Dre and all the rap.
So he was part of that group of people that became very successful. So all together became like huge.
Right.
They were good, of course. Yeah. And but you're right. I think I always ask myself, is he like smoking that much every day?
Right.
And it would be good to know that the real like his like daily life, right? What does he actually do?
Sure.
He might be doing a lot of things that actually keeps him very sharp.
Probably works out and reads books.
He read books, like staying so sharp. Maybe don't eat too much junk food. You know?
Yeah.
And that allows him to like get high often.
Sure.
But maybe not that often. Not as much as we think, right?
Exactly. It could be a little unwinder or whatever, but it's definitely not like all the time. You know, I mean, and he's on so many commercials. He's a commercial guy now. He's everywhere. You know, so he doesn't have time to like, you know, sit and smoke.
And he's got to manage people too. You know, you need a manager. You need people who take care of everything around your business. So it's you got to be sharp enough to not lose track.
Exactly.
Because to sustain that over years, I'm pretty sure like he doesn't do any drugs for sure. That like smoking would be the only drug he does, maybe.
Oh, exactly.
But on a very controlled manner.
Right. But it, you know, so it's great because it was a very cool, you know, line of business. It's like, oh yeah, these guys kind of made characters out of themselves and stuff, and then a lot of people kind of fall trap into trying to become like that character. And that even goes as far as like some of the successful rappers. I mean, you hear about musicians and artists and all different famous people overdosing and you know, getting in trouble, you know, getting intoxicated one way or another, just getting into bad trouble, you know. So a lot of even like famous people are like, you know, victim to it and all. I mean, you remember Justin Bieber being wasted and peeing in a janitor's bucket or something like that. I forget what the story was, but so it's intoxication culture and it's frightening.
It is.
It's not cool.
It is. It's not. It was like so much in the culture of partying. And
which is very, very attractive, you know, to young people.
It is attractive because in a way it's like, why I want to party too. I want to go, you know, have fun as well. And if anybody, you kind of feel like led on the side where it's like, if I want to be part of, you know, have friends and have fun with them, you gotta have to party as well. So that means I have to maybe do drugs as well.
You want to fit in. I mean,
smoke
when you're really, really young, I think socialness is your biggest currency. I think because you don't understand, you know, how important, like, you know, money and stability is at that point. But before then, you want to make sure, which is just kind of a survival mechanism kind of thing. You want to be in a tribe. You want to be safe with people.
So what do you think? Because we talked about alcohol
Yeah.
last week.
Yep.
Do you think it's as we said? Alcohol is not a bad thing in a way,
Right.
but it does distract you from your soul.
Yes.
Let's say.
Absolutely.
And what do you think about weed then?
I think it definitely can also be a distraction because just on a dopamine level, it's a whole bunch of ones that kind of numb the zeros. And here's my biggest thing that's kind of insidious about cannabis is I think the ultimate way to enjoy it is by doing it often, regularly. I mean, it's a very small percentage of people who do it once in a while who have that kind of control. And I think people who smoke it every day and multiple times every day.
It's like me getting coffee.
Yeah.
Same thing,
right. I mean, how do you drink coffee just 1 cup a day though? Probably, right?
Yeah.
I think people who smoke a lot of weed though,
do you think throughout the day?
It's whenever they can.
Okay.
And and what's perpetuated that even more so is the advent of vaping.
Yeah.
Because it is as discreet.
Because now you can smoke anywhere you want.
That's right. You can go to a bathroom at work. You can go on your break. You can, and you can even do it in the movie theater. You can hit and you can just.
Dude, this is bad.
It's very, very. So
I've never thought about it.
It's anywhere. It's almost like an IV drip.
Yeah.
And when you are like
people are screwed,
high, what's that?
People are screwed.
Oh, I know, it's so bad, man. And that's the thing.
If you do that,
and people can argue that, okay, after they smoke, some people are very high functioning, and they're maybe more creative or whatever.
I don't believe any of that.
I don't believe any of that either. And then when they're off of it, or when their high is gone, everything's worse.
Yeah.
For one, and people say it's non-addictive, but I definitely would say it's habit forming, and it's a hard habit to break for a lot of people.
Yeah. And
people who I've known were smokers from a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, still smoke now every day. And that can't be good.
No, there's nothing good out of it.
No, so it's here for the long haul, and it doesn't, things like alcohol and cannabis, for one, they're only getting more expensive, and that does not align with my frugality or minimalism.
Yeah,
because it requires an apparatus to do weed of any kind, unless you're doing edibles.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest, only some people do edibles. And it's different for edibles because it takes a lot longer to hit. It's not instant. When you smoke or when you vape, it's right away.
Yeah.
And edibles are hard to manage too, because maybe 3 hours you'll finally feel it, and you'll feel it like 2 hours at least.
Wow.
And you won't feel anything at all. And then you'll either feel a little, or you'll feel so much that you get sick and you're throwing up.
Oh wow!
So you gotta portion it out exactly right, and it's hard to do with food.
Yeah.
So a lot of people I'll say a lot of people don't do edibles. Some people might, but I think most people will smoke and vape it. And it's so easy just to smoke so much of it all day, and it goes hand in hand with being distracted on social media or all kinds of content that you shouldn't be wasting time on.
What I've witnessed is it brings so much paranoia.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To everything. And we know that our brain is a search engine, right?
Yeah.
You just ask a question to it, it goes find it. Yeah. Even when you start thinking about it, you find the answer at some point. You get any kind of answer. Or, we have this example of you bought a new car, you bought or you think of a red car.
Yeah.
And you're going to start seeing red cars
everywhere, right?
So just your brain, finding them,
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
You believe, if you believe one thing,
oh yeah,
think that, people will say things to you, or
What do they mean by
think
that?
like the
Should I get
government,
upset?
yeah,
Yeah.
the government's doing bad things to you. It's always like very negative too.
Sure. And it's so sad because I think one of the worst things about it is that it kind of ruins you socially because of that paranoia.
Yeah.
Unless you're around everyone that's smoking all the time, and even then, it's like let's say, you're a smoker and you have to go to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna smoke so that you build up this appetite because it's a large dinner and you get the munchies, and then you're gonna go at the table and you're hardly gonna say a single word because you're high.
Yeah.
And if you say something weird, people might suspect that you smoked, and nobody else is high. You're just you.
Yeah.
So that's.
I love the way that you.
That's not a very good feeling.
Draw the picture right here.
Yeah, So, it's not only like the special occasions like Thanksgiving. It's every day.
Yeah.
If you're a smoker, it's every day. You go to your job.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that
dude, it keeps you in.
You don't look high.
Yeah. And you have to hide it.
Yeah. Sorry.
It keeps you in the flesh.
Yeah.
And you are in your head all the time, and you just have this constant conversation in your head going on.
Yeah.
And that's all you have. That's what's happening. You're not really connected to the rest of the outside world, pretty much.
It's so bad. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're in your head so much, and I think if you're in your head a lot and you overthink things, a lot of action doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, because the more you overthink something before you do, sometimes you just have to start. We talked about that a couple of episodes ago. Just start.
Yeah.
If there's something you want to do, even if you're worrying about, if you have enough time for it, if it's feasible in one way or another, just start.
Yeah.
And smoking and being high will definitely blunt your, no pun intended, your ability to just start.
Yeah.
You'll be doing way more thinking.
I mean, you see it, all these artists who just high all the time.
Yeah.
And then just talk and then do nothing,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I had always thought that, okay, maybe it can lead to more creativity as an artist, but, if it does, that's bad.
I think it's a cultural myth.
Yeah, I think so too. Even if it did, that's not good because you would have to smoke all the time to find your creative part. Exactly. What the hell is that stupid thinking? Exactly. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not creative today. I guess I better smoke. What?
Yeah, it puts you in this place without any effort.
Yeah.
So you get there. Okay, cool. Now I'm creative. I'm high. I can do. I have a lot of ideas right now. Everything flows very well. Cool.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But then when it's not here anymore, you gotta do that same thing again, over and over. At some point, of course, we know how drug work.
Yeah.
It's you gotta do it more and more to get the effects. Over and over.
We got receptors, and they're gonna, weaken. Over time, and so we have to do more. We have to smoke more. We have to.
Whether than do the work of maybe do some meditation or go out in nature, get that real sense of real life, what it is from actually outside of you.
Yes.
And get in the flow with everything.
Yeah.
So you are losing yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
So then you can tap into like the creative power, which is not from you, by the way, but it's from everything else around you.
Yeah, it's from your observing of everything around you.
Because creativity is not from you. That is, and people, I think, if they think this way, you will never you never understand how to actually tap in your true self and get actual creative.
Absolutely. Where I feel like my creativity comes from the most is after a good run.
Yeah. Of course.
That's always when I'm number one, most creative. Because and that's without earbuds in my ears or anything else. Just running. Yeah. And I don't know if this happens for other people so much, but I love jazz. So I'll always think of like really crazy solo ideas and stuff, and just this loop of this jazz tune over and over and over, all different ways, and kind of going to the beat of the sound of my footsteps. And I hear birds chirping and stuff. Dude, it's all a jam session. Yeah, that's creativity. I'm inspired by nature.
It is so much creativity right here.
Yeah,
It's a great way to do it, actually.
right,
I love
right.
it.
And
If you
yeah,
mix like physical, activities and then working your brain at the same time, man, that makes you very, very intelligent.
that's I mean, that's all. That is from yourself, but that's also from you just reaping the benefits of your environment
Yeah,
and your own mind.
yeah.
Because your mind is so capable of making its own fertilizer. When you exercise, it makes brain derived neurotropic factor, which is fertilizer for the brain. And
By the way, you have a lot of this when you just learned that the other day.
yeah,
The walk after your meal.
yes,
If you eat and go for a walk,
yeah,
your brain it's so good for your brain.
right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you digest, and it just you're moving your body around.
Yeah.
We have a brain so that we can move our body. That's why we shouldn't sit around and smoke a bunch of weed
Yeah.
and scroll on our phones all day.
No.
Because that's not what our brain was made to do.
Yeah. I think the less you do it, the better your life is.
Yeah, the happier you are.
And we forget about how good we used to be without phones.
Oh God, man! I know
how good we used to be without any. There were like other distractions, but everything was like slower. Everything was more. And now to try to bring the past, not try to bring the past and get some glory from the past.
Yeah.
But we can definitely have glory right now, where we're like doing something artistic, or working on something very creative.
Right.
By not doing the things that everybody else does.
Yeah.
This
it's
trend stuff, or like being part of groups on Instagrams or stuff like that. So
right.
Stay focused on what you want to do.
I feel like, and here's a crazy thing, it's almost kind of sad to admit, but a lot of the strongest memories I have are from a long time ago, before being really deep into my phone.
Yeah.
And a lot of those memories include being like 13 and 14, skateboarding with a group of friends, taking the bus to I have no idea where, because they knew, or maybe they didn't know, but we would just like get on the bus, like 10, 15 of us, and just like go somewhere and just be totally lost, just skating around. Those are the memories I remember so dear, like it's yesterday. And then once like there's a lot of phone time, a lot of it's I hardly remember anything. It's just like little tiny bits and pieces, and that's scary and sad to admit. But it's almost like the Men in Black memory eraser.
Yeah.
So not to. I mean, this is a beautiful piece of technology that a lot of hard work is put into.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
Right? We couldn't evitate that. We couldn't avoid the fact that we created that.
Right.
It has to be created.
Yeah.
And more will be created from that.
Sure.
But it's just a tool, man, and we gotta see it this way. And as long as the minute it just controls us, it's over.
Yeah. Go outside without your phone.
Yeah.
Shut your phone off. It feels so good.
Yeah, it feels amazing.
What I've been doing is I've been powering off my phone when I'm at work, and just like writing stuff down by hand. And when I'm home, I keep my computer off completely until I absolutely need it.
Yeah.
It's like just off.
It reminds me one other thing I do for me. I think for I don't know. That's what I believe. But I turn off the Wi-Fi every night.
Nice. Okay.
Because I don't think that's the microwaves are good for us.
Yeah.
And having, especially when you sleep at night, I'm pretty sure it disrupts your subconscious and how
it probably does something.
So I do that, for instance, and it's harder for me. Like if I turn it on in the morning, it takes a while to just set up.
Yeah, it's gotta find it.
So I cannot use my computer right away or stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's your time to like wake yourself up, meditate, and drink lemon water.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know my routine. But,
I do, man. I'm on to you.
Are you still doing the lemon juice?
Yes, I am. Awesome. I think I got to get more soon, but no, it's been good. I skipped this morning, but I'm going to. I did it yesterday. But it's nice, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and you have warm water, and do you do a whole lemon or half lemon?
I do maybe quarter of lemon.
Oh, a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not much. Depending on a lemon, as big, but
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was doing half. Just
you can. I mean, you can.
Yeah. So cool.
I just feel like it's still hard or strong on your teeth when it's
That's
too much
true.
lemon, when it gets very acidic.
Yeah, that's very true.
But as long as you remember that the acidity becomes alkaline in your body once it's inside.
Right.
So it alkalines your body
That's the thing.
once inside, yeah.
You know, it's really bad for your teeth. Smoking weed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I feel like alcohol too, to that extent, it definitely stains it. But
Yeah.
oh my god, smoking anything, man, is.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, like, you know, the insides, with your lungs and your esophagus.
Covered
and all
of that
oh,
thing.
God.
So many chemicals. Too.
Yeah, I'm scared for the vape world because it was advertised to us more or less as a healthier alternative. But have you heard about, I forget what it's called, but these things, these airbags appear in your lungs. I'm forgetting what the word is, but it's a really, really scary condition that happens to vapors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where, yeah, your lungs get this thing, and it's excruciating too. They like, there's these like tears and you know, these like air bubbles that like almost build up. It's like popcorn lung or something. It's horrifying.
I've never heard of that. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Yeah,
it's probably because it's a very high temperature thing.
Oh.
And if you ever vape anything,
I never tried it.
Good. It burns a bit. You feel it.
Oh, when you like the air is so hot.
Yeah, it's really hot air.
Oh.
Yeah. So
crazy.
It's so bad.
Dude.
But you know, and so that was advertised to smokers, like people who burn stuff, as healthier. Vaporize it. It's like no, you're that's not right.
Yeah.
So
you trading that to buy something bad for another
worse.
thing worse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dude, that's so bad.
It's all bad, man. You know, and
just don't do it.
Yeah, and you know, if you smoke or if you vape, then yeah, it makes all the dopamine go woo in your mind and everything, but it's not the natural way.
You know, they really got rid of the inconvenient part of it.
Yes, that's all they did
to make it easier for everybody to actually keep smoking.
It's so evil.
It is evil.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And it's also very expensive.
Is it?
Well, I mean, I don't. How do I know? No, yeah. No. But it's yeah. I mean, all of that stuff is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I think during the 2020 they legalized weed and you know, completely, making it the same level as like alcohol, where you have to be 21. But on that, they're able to tax it quite an enormous amount. So it's just very, very expensive. And, you know, for what?
Yeah. You
know, there's no, it's like, think of it as like, you know, for things that are good for you, like, you know, saving money and stuff, it's not like eating cake.
Yeah.
You know, it's you wouldn't tell people if you eat enough cake, you're going to be sustained. You're going to be good. It's if you do that for money, if you save enough money, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
It's money. It's you know, you're going to spend it, you're going to save it, but you know, yeah, it's like there's no saving up for.
What would be one thing? What would be the first thing that comes in your mind to like just maybe you can shift to not do that anymore?
So you gotta. That could be something for anybody else, but for me, you know, go easy on yourself. It doesn't have to be like going from that to like the hardest, most impressive thing you could possibly think of.
Right.
Like, you know, don't go from smoking weed to reading really hard literature or learning a language or you know, powerlifting.
Yeah.
But a lot of things are better. Maybe just going for that walk.
Yeah.
Instead is
that
good.
Walk thing is amazing.
The walk is good.
The walk is good.
And you get all the benefits of, you know, and you can also, you know, if you have social issues and stuff, which could either be, you know, from, you know, this paranoia or just who you are personality wise.
Yeah.
That is a golden opportunity to flex that muscle.
Right.
Walk around and say hello to people.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that you'll get that dopamine hit, because a lot of people will say hi.
Yeah.
Start with easy customers. So
True.
you see that elderly couple walking, they're gonna say hello to you.
Yeah.
Maybe the serious lady that doesn't look at anyone walking her dog won't say anything, but you're not gonna lose anything. You're not gonna get hurt, even if you say hello and someone doesn't.
You never lose by giving.
Yeah, exactly. So that is infinitely better already. Costs you nothing. And then besides that, you can kind of work it from there too. Then you can watch CEO interviews.
Yeah.
Just people that know a whole lot of stuff that you don't, a lot of money stuff. And that doesn't cost anything either, and that's easy to do. Just watch 5 minutes of it.
I think like the walk thing is is very good because it takes you out of your environment.
Yeah.
And it's most of the time it's an emotion that you have related to what's around you.
Exactly.
And it's so hard to like combat this emotion when you stay in the same environment.
Right.
So you gotta find a place where you can go to, like, just allow yourself to reset.
Yeah.
And like you said, like go to a park or go walk in the street.
Yeah.
And go talk to people.
Yep.
It's gonna like divert your mind from that emotion.
Yeah.
So you're gonna distract yourself from that and then focus on something that's actually makes you feel better by yourself.
Yeah, it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think environment plays a huge role in that, and that could be for any things that is bad, and it's a practice to yourself that only that you do.
Yeah.
And that could be like vaping weed or any kind of bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, get out of that environment for a bit, not forever, but just to reset your mind, and get in a social situation ideally, because you're always a different person when you're around others.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah. I'm not just gonna like suddenly go on my social media or anything like while you're here.
Yeah.
So yeah. That is, I would say, the number one place to start.
Yeah.
And it's so easy.
It's a good thing. Very good thing. I love it because it's simple, easy. Everybody can do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Find the place where, work up to it. If you're socially, if that freaks you out, just walk by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little bit,
dude.
And then
walking is so good for you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all good stuff.
Yes, always.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, I'm glad we got something pretty good out of this addiction we've been talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Today. And then I think something as simple as walking, just going out, taking yourself out of your environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's helpful right there.
Anything you feel like you wanna share, like add or to that?
So just enjoy the simple things in life. There's a lot of powerful music out there and inspiration.
Yeah.
And I know that motivation and inspiration aren't forever, they're fleeting, but the kindling is always so good to spark something new. A lot of things that are pretty much an identity to myself, being vegan for a long time, that came from a YouTube inspiration. Being minimalist more recently is this inspiration from a video, so it doesn't exactly matter where it's from, and never be embarrassed to say that it's from a quick little video you saw.
Yeah, of course.
A YouTube that you saw.
Read or,
but find, or oftentimes it'll find you.
Yes.
Find these different paths of life to walk.
Yeah.
So first you start walking physically outside, and then mentally and spiritually you start to, find different paths for your soul to walk.
And who knows? Yeah, here we go. Who knows you're gonna meet on your walk?
Yeah, exactly. on both ways.
Yeah.
So, and it's so powerful because for both senses, you can you'll find all different communities. You'll find nice friends, new friends, and they'll have
100%.
other interests that could be a further inspiration.
Yeah.
And that is so life changing right there, because it will create a different environment for you ultimately.
100%.
You know, and at the end of it all, you're always the one in control, because you're the person who's having the experience. You know, and anything that comes to you, you're in control of the reaction over it. You know, so it's all your simulation.
Yeah.
And even if you make millions of dollars, or you do this in your life, or you do that in your life, there's only going to be a few things that really fulfill you. Not to get morbid and dark, but you do have to think about when, you know, you have just a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to ask yourself, because I think, God, that's one of the worst things, is being unfulfilled when you only have months left. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you did everything, you know, that you wanted to do, and you have all these great memories, and you met these people that, you know, just changed your life,
and you brought something amazing to other people around you. Yeah.
Then a doctor saying 10 months, you have 10 months left, isn't so bad.
No, you're like, okay, whatever, I did something pretty, you know, not satisfying, but, you know, I brought something great to the world.
Yeah, exactly.
As simple as like helping a friend, you know, to get over fears or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I changed a life. Even if it's one other person's life, man, that's very gratifying.
Right on.
So cool. So yeah, and not to end on such a dark note, but you know, if you had just a little bit of time left, you know, would you think that right now?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
It is very. Are you satisfied with everything you've done and lived through so far?
So far.
And if the answer is no, how are you going to change that?
Yeah.
What are you going to start? You know, what are you going to push yourself to do? Let us know what that might be for you in the comments. We hope to see you in the next video.
Yeah, next week, next episode.
Yes, sir.
We'll keep going, and then yeah.
And we'll have some, you know, in the near future, we'll have some people that want to join us in some conversations. Should be pretty fun. Take care, you guys. See you next time.
Boom.